Good evening and welcome to Season 1, Episode 6 of ScaryBizzare. As always, I am your hostess, Miss Spooky, and today we are going to be discussing a brief history and mythology of the Japanese inanimate object spirits. Because these are Japanese creatures, there's a lot of Japanese words and pronunciations going on. I do not pretend at all to know how to pronounce them. I will probably butcher the pronunciations horribly, so you'll just have to bear with me as I do my best, and I apologize if I offend anybody with my horrible pronunciations of these words. So with that, let's get started and jump right into the brief myth and history behind the Tsukumogami. That's what I'm going with, Tsukumogami. Alright, they're a type of Japanese yokai or spirit. They seem to date back to before the 10th century, but they seem to be very predominantly mentioned in the Shingon Buddhism teachings of the 10th century. These creatures are inanimate objects that have served their owners for 100 years and as a result have gained a soul and sentience. I wasn't able to find anything on why they gain a soul. It just seems to be that after this time period, on New Year's of the 100 years of being in existence, they are given a spirit for some reason. I'm not sure why. In modern times, they are considered usually harmless pranksters, but they will seek vengeance against anybody who misuse them or throw them away or cause them, harm of any kind, which is why it's very common in Japan for jinja ceremonies. Again, I'm guessing at these words. Jinja ceremonies to be performed as a way to appease the yokai spirits of these inanimate objects. Right, a brief history into the folklore. The origin of the name seems to come from a tea caddy that Matsunaga Hishihide gave to Oda Nobunaga as a negotiation for peace. But the Shingon Buddhism used these characters quite a bit in their teachings because they were so commonplace amongst the lower class and the peasants that the Buddhists used them as a way to connect with the lower classes by preying on their naturally superstitious beliefs. Around the 20th century, with pop culture and everything, a lot of the original Buddhist teachings revolving around these creatures was lost, and they kind of became these cute little campy, harmless, benevolent prankster spirit kinds of things. But in the original writings of the Tsukumogami Kai, or it's like the list of the Tsukumogami tools or something, is kind of, if you can look that up, Tsukumogami, and then Ki, they're two different words, and you will find a PDF with an English translation of this story. And what the story starts out with telling us is that it was fairly common for people to discard their old objects before they hit the 100-year mark, like around a day or a week before the New Year's, in a ceremony called the Susuhari, or the year-end house cleaning. Well, in this old myth, the old tools and discarded objects were angry at being thrown away after serving their owners so faithfully for so long. They didn't understand why they would just be so unceremoniously discarded the way they were, so they got together and they started discussing revenge. A Buddhist rosary by the name of Ichien Nyoto, again, I'm trying here, preached that they should practically turn the other cheek and that violence is not the answer, and vengeance is certainly not the answer. And a club, I'm guessing they mean like a baseball bat type club, named Araturo pretty much yelled at him to shut up, and that everybody hate Buddhists anyway because they're a bunch of passive, pansy-fied, pussy-fied know-nothings, you know, and beat him nearly to death, but he managed to escape, and he fled into the mountains and became a hermit. An old book of some ancient Chinese teachings stepped up and told all of the other items to wait until after the new year, where they would be granted their spirit forms. So they did, and they waited until after the New Year's, where they were all granted these spirit forms, and then they moved back into the town and the village that had discarded them, and they started hunting the people and tormenting them out of vengeance. They ended up building a shrine to the shapeshifter god Henji Daimojin, and started worshipping him. 4 months after all of this carnage and stuff started up, they start traveling eastward, just killing whoever they can, and they meet the Prince Regent. His party was scared, but the Regent's amulet fought these things, and they escaped. He told the Emperor. The Emperor hired a diviner who determined that the amulet was blessed by Sansho Daruni. So they got all the bishops together to pray, and these divine beings came down and fought all of the evil spirits. But instead of killing them, the beings told the spirits that if they swore themselves to the teachings of the Shingon Buddhists, that they would be let go. So these creatures did. They end up finding the old rosary and following him as a holy man, and they become good spirits from there. Like, comment, subscribe. I love you guys. See you. Bye.